This conference will now be recorded.
There's some of these, but it's not that, I don't think. It's this one. Default microphone. I don't know whether that. Where did it show up at last? We were downstairs. Because this says on, microphone access on. Joint microphone, if we don't have to go there, wherever it is. Add device, Bluetooth, right? I'll show this. Here. Hold it till it's over. See, now it's not. Two thing here too, but I have to use. Well, maybe it is. Yeah, here it is. You have to click it? Yeah, try it. There you go.
Switch to your microphone. Would you like to activate it? Let me by yes.
This conference will now be recorded.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and start the meeting. We'll stand up and do pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thanks everybody for coming. The existing jail was constructed, designed in the 70s with some upgrades in 05. Current jail has 4 cells on one side, 4 on the other side. All 8 cells provide a shared small indoor recreation area. But this existing jail does not meet the current separation requirements for male and female inmates and does not provide the required recreation space for the inmates. So I'll go ahead and let Sheriff start in with some of the reasons why we're looking at this expansion.
Thank you for the 6 of you that showed up. But thanks for that last time, so I give the same spiel and stats and everything that I had for the last group. So I'll start with just my own intro, I guess, to this is thank you guys for attending the public hearing regarding the proposed construction of a new county jail. We sincerely appreciate your time, participation, and commitment to the future of our community. As our county continues to grow and evolve, the need for a modern, safe, and secure detention facility has become increasingly important. A new jail is being considered in the best interest of public safety, ensuring that law enforcement, detention staff, inmates, and the public are served by a facility that meets current and future needs. We understand that projects of this size often raise question about costs and funding. The county has secured $1.5 million in grant funding and has allocated an additional $2.2 million from its existing budget. There are no plans to increase taxes or create a new mill levy to fund this project. In fact, retired Sheriff Witt and county leadership have responsibly set aside funds for nearly a decade in anticipation that the need for a new jail would eventually arise. Through long-term planning and budgeting, the county has worked to prepare for this investment and hopes to reduce entirely, placing additional financial burdens on taxpayers. The plans for this project have been started in a way to give the public an idea of how the facility will work and look. The primary question before us is not whether the project can be funded, but where the facility should be located. And this decision will have a lasting impact on our community, and your input is both valued and necessary. We are committed to listening carefully to the concerns, ideas, and perspectives of our residents as we evaluate potential locations. Thank you again for your participation and for helping shape a decision that will serve our county for years to come. Your voice matters, and we appreciate your involvement in this important discussion. So, like stated, the current facility is very outdated. We don't meet a lot of criteria and requirements that the state is upholding right now through Montana jail standards. Some of them are minor things, but in a jail facility, when you add up all the minor things, it becomes more of a problem because those minor things will spread. If the showers are not ADA compliant and we make them ADA compliant, then we have to put new tiling in the showers or jail approved material for rebuilding those, which then leads to retiling the entire shower, which then leads to they start digging into like things like the piping and plumbing and stuff of the shower heads. And then it just becomes a huge project of remodeling what is already there, but at the same time is super outdated. So with this project, it essentially is kind of a fresh start that modernizes the security for inmates, the protection and privacy for inmates, as well as the public safety side of things, and then slowly start working on the current facility to utilize that as well with revenue that would come in from the new constructed jail. I guess we can answer questions about things. I have a lot of statistics from going back for the last 4 years of like public safety side of things, like how much our jail is being utilized now, what other jails are utilizing our jail, how much we have been utilizing other facilities because we don't have the capacity to hold inmates. And a lot of that ties in with public service. I mean, that's the big thing here is someone has even a misdemeanor theft against them, something's taken, and they become upset because the person that just stole from them isn't being held accountable for that. They're being cited and they walk. And that's just due to right now, I would say probably close to the last 2.5, 3 years, our facility has been primarily utilized for violent felony holds. And the inmates that we're seeing have been the longest. I think we had an inmate in our facility for over 500 days, and it very fluctuates. It's not your standard 24-hour stay anymore. So we're seeing an increase in that a lot.
Sure. Dave, when you mentioned revenue, are you talking about when you bring in inmates from other counties and stuff, like the revenue for those guys showing up in a facility?
Yeah. So when the official talk and start of this project on our side was what kind of facility are we going to build that meets the needs of our county, but also we can't afford to build a 100-bed facility or something big surrounding counties that have newer facilities and even that aren't new. Cascade County they're holding over 400 inmates. Flathead County, same thing. So asking them, it didn't really compare to what we have. So I started reaching out to places like Broadwater County, east of us as much as I could, just looking for smaller facilities. And just in doing that through the Sheriff's Association, within a couple weeks, I had a county call and say, heard you're building a new jail. We want to contract out 8 beds. And I was like, okay, well, it's talk right now. We don't even have plans yet. And they're like, well, when you do 8 beds, we'll pay for them, whether there's a body in them or not. And they'll contract the beds out year by year. So the revenue that I've looked into for that, we're going to do a resolution to increase our inmate daily rate, essentially. Right now, we're probably one of the lower ends of all the counties in the state. I think we're at like $55 a day. We want to increase that to $75 a day. And for a state inmate or another county's inmate be held in our facility at $75 a day and 8 beds for the year, we're looking at around $220,000 brought in from another county.
Did you guys run like a pro forma financial on like the revenue versus the additional expenses then?
We haven't done anything fully with that, but I have and I printed this one prior to the budget reports from this current month. But just things that we cover are medical and dental services, which the state also provides an insurance for inmates through that. And then prisoner meals and detainment costs. So for medical and dental services, we are averaging, last year I pulled the numbers, we were on for the year averaging 9.8 inmates. But there was several times that it was a week, 2 weeks that we in our 8-bed facility had to house 14 to 17 people. So these numbers I would say are pretty accurate for saying this is at max capacity, but we've used 61% of medical in that setting. Whenever we do house for other counties, if a inmate, unless it's something urgent and I would say an ER type visit, an inmate makes a request and says, my tooth hurts, I want to go get seen. We send that to the other county and they have to approve it. Once they approve it, we make the appointment and then tell the whatever facility, this is who you're billing. So we don't get actually billed for their medical stuff in that sense. But, and then other areas, like I said, detainment costs, we've used 4%. And then prisoner meals, when I was sworn in as sheriff, we set up a contract with the prison and we went from spending around $75,000 a year on meals to this year, we have spent a total $13,889. So the cost, and then it brings in more stuff for them too, that I guess it's a benefit and perk on their end, but we don't have full numbers and everything's scaled out. But the other option is federal holds pre-conviction. With them, and it varies depending what agency federally it is, but it'll go from 115 a day to usually 125 a day. I know ICE is doing contracts for 180 a day, but at 125 a day, if we were to contract 8 beds, would be roughly like $365,000 a year.
What's your projected cost to operate per day per bed?
I don't really know. And are you talking for
We should go with the cost to operate. If you're looking at $75 per card, it's costing us 80, costing us 60. And I see where you got a meal prep area going in the new thing. You're gonna start preparing our own meals and you're gonna go back up to 50,000, because prison pays way less for food. you take Deer Lodge on food versus, correction, here, Core Civic here. Core Civic's wage is like $5-6 a day versus $50-60 a day down on Deer Lodge.
for food.
Yeah.
So we're paying in between $1 and $2 a meal right
Yeah.
now. The food prep area is not to prepare our own meals. We would still contract through the prison, but that would be where going from an 8-bed facility to, in total, we use both facilities, 40 beds. That would be where the detention staff can separate meals by pod and then serve meals so that it's not just a swarm of them coming to eat. But yeah, it's basically, I guess, what it is titled. The food prep is just saying, let's prepare these trays to serve them
What
to the
is the debt
inmates.
service gonna be per year per bed? Right?
Sorry, the what?
The debt service, you're gonna have debt, you're gonna have to pay.
Most of it will have, we might have $1 million that we'll have to borrow, but all the rest of it has already been saved up.
So you've got 1.5, and then I think what was the other number, 2.3 that they had.
Yeah, but
So there's another 3 million. You guys had stated last week that it was about 7 million. I think you guys threw out.
6,
Okay.
5.5 actually, but anyhow, yeah.
But still, there's $1.5 million there at least.
There'd be another,
So
that's in the budget right now, and by the time this budget gets over, but the amount of money that'll go into that construction project from the county that's put in there yearly, that has been for the last several years, will be closer to 3 million, actually. We've got 2.5 now, 1.5 coming, this is 4 million. We'll have another at least 500 in there, so yeah, we might have $1 million to borrow, but this is all preliminary costs. We'll have to, I mean, last year it was $1 million less than it. So
You're putting that like a capital project.
capital, yep, capital fund.
Capital that you're setting aside that will most likely cover some of that debt service.
Exactly, yeah. But there will be some debt. I mean, we can't. I tried to get another grant from the federal government on the, but they, well, I just got one last year for $1.5 million, but so they didn't give me another one for this year for the same project. But there's other grants that they also will, community enhancement grants that the sheriff's office can apply for metal detectors, scanners, that kind of thing. That'll help pay for any of that kind of stuff. Or radios and different things like that. But yeah, the debt service, we'll have to figure out how many years out we'll have that debt, but it'll be encompassed in the same amount of money that we've been putting away already in the past 10 years or however long they've been putting this money away for that.
But
It shouldn't be
If you're signing a
anymore.
contract for only a year at a time, you could easily end up without that revenue.
Yeah, realistically, we could.
have you guys looked at any other except for the 32 bed? I mean, did you look at, say, 8, 16? And
Yeah, there was a
do you have those costs that you could actually see?
the
Not here at the meeting, I mean.
Oh, so we had them do a cost comparison between a 16 and a 32. And the 16 was 500,000 less than the 32 on the 6 million.
Can we see that?
If you want, not,
I'll come up tomorrow.
sure.
That seems a little odd that you can build something twice as big for only 500.
Well, once you have everybody here and everybody's, to add on or to expand it is a lot more efficient than doing it to begin with. But those are the numbers they gave.
It's the dormitory style, so It's really just adding the square footage space, if you did individual cells, it would be substantial for the plumbing and outlets and everything. But I'm guessing that's what it is.
How big is each pod? Square feet?
Didn't have it in here. I knew we should have figured that out. I didn't bring that square footage.
Is it on your
Like,
other diagram thing?
Not yet. On this board, they just put how far it was from the street, from the
How many square feet do you have?
6,800.
200?
6,800.
Yeah. Probably 1,200 at least in each pod.
Does that include the rec yard? That's for the whole proposed addition. But yeah, I'm sure in the other like more detailed plans, they have the square footage, but they have to meet a requirement by Montana jail standards. So depending how many people are in the pods, that is where they have to meet that square footage requirement.
Well, I'm looking at a building getting built, it's $450 to $500 a square foot, that's not being built there. You know, you've got to be in the 650 to 750 for
Yeah.
construction cost, which is gonna make it a lot more than $500,000 to have on the pod. Even 2 pods is gonna be, it adds up fast.
Yeah. Those are the figures that they gave us on it.
Is there a problem, like as far as water? You know, I mean, because all of a sudden, let's say you might have another 32 people.
Yeah.
Because for a while there, they weren't letting us build additional new installations because we didn't have enough water.
That was sewer.
Was it sewer? I can't. Yeah, okay, sorry.
Logan?
So if you guys start accepting out of county inmates, will you guys be willing to give them rights back to their county of origin once they're released?
No.
So they'll just be released initially.
No, they have to come get them. Yeah, we don't give them rights. They have to come get them. But it's no different than what's going on right now. We hold out of county inmates right now. They don't complete their term here. They have to come and get them and. Yeah, when they get released, it's usually after sentencing that they go back to wherever county, whatever jurisdiction that they're being seen by the judge in.
Or if somebody bonds out, we're responsible for more than 6 months. Like we have 4 people in Andre right now. If they were to bond out or something, we have 4 people.
Those are our inmates.
Yeah, the ones that are in, or would we have to bring people to both? Like nowhere it holds females, so if we have a female boat, then that they're holding for us. We have to drive the boat and pick her up.
Okay, so like, sometimes I know like Teton County, for example, like if someone say gets like a third offense DUI, they have to do their 30 days before they'll send them to a different county. So like if you guys were to like take someone in that situation when their 30 days are up, would the other county be responsible for transporting them?
Usually, either that or they communicate travel to go back. And then if like last resort is, we have done things where we go to like the county line and it's like basically just a taxi service of pass along until they get to where they need to go. But Highway Patrol usually assists us in that quite a bit.
I only bring it up just out of, public safety concerns, just, having people, who have nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm. Which is, again, kind of ties into the big deal of why we need a new facility is these people are gonna be here whether we want them to or not, but they show up, they vandalize property, they steal stuff, they're doing drugs, and we can't hold them because we don't have space. I mean, right now, our inmates are homicide, strangulation. There's a couple of them in there for strangulation. There's felon, I mean, all of them are felony, but felony drug charges, like none of these guys are going anywhere. I think our lowest bond is 10,000 is there, but they have to pay to bond out right now.
And so we're saying that like this is all pre-conviction,
Mhm.
and that's really the world of detention. It's, I don't know the percentage, but almost all of the inmates that we hold in county jails, they are going through the judicial process. And they're not sentenced. I mean, we'll get sentences for up to 6 months usually, but like all these guys are potentially going to Department of Correction prison. But that can take up to well over a year. So they have these high bonds on these violent crimes waiting their trial, and that system is very delayed. So they sit in jails waiting, not convicted. So we're not even getting like that scenario. Those days are rare of like a flat 30-day sentence that you're just doing, because it's really not even often right now.
Yeah, I was wondering, I mean, there are counties that are looking for, situations where pick up misdemeanor. So I just wonder if you guys were to get into that. Would there be a point?
Yep. Yeah. And the sheriffs around the state, I mean, are really tight like that. Like the last thing we want to do is burn a relationship with the sheriff by leaving a felon in their town. The same goes for us. That just communication is kind of a respect thing. We're helping you out, you help us out, but don't be leaving criminals in our community.
Part of the reason that doesn't happen a whole lot is like, if they're sentenced to like a 30-day stay and they want to come here to serve that sentence, they have to pay us. If they're sentenced in our county and they're gonna come do that stay in our county and they're sentenced from our court, then they don't have to pay that. But if they're coming from out of county, if they're sentenced to that and they're not in their county, they have our rate. So a lot of times they won't come to us because they don't want to pay that money. It's out of pocket for the person who's serving.
And that's the other part of like, so then, as I just was saying, like the pre-conviction is already, the demand is so high. But then talking post-conviction, Department of Corrections, I mean, I'd be comfortable to say within a month, we would never do this, but if we just built the jail and said just females for Department of Corrections, we would be full in 2 weeks with a contract or whatever the state charges, because the demand is just so high right now for inmates specifically in the state system that anybody, with any floor space is filling it up right away.
You're talking that before they get convicted, you can build that, because you like, if they're convicted, then we have to meet the rules where the state has to have approved the facility before you ever did it. And enter a contract that you're like, we did down hard, and you end up with an empty building.
So you mean approve the building meets the requirements?
So we have to be approved for, the law reads, in order, if you're gonna build another correction that we have here, has to be approved by the state before you ever start. Otherwise, they can't put any inmates in there. That's where Hardin, when he built the prison, without having that approval, that's why it sits empty down Hardin.
So ours, again, with that dormitory style, it would have to meet certain criteria for the crime. So it's a pod style, so they have stacked bunk beds. So the criteria I think you're talking about is like the specs within the cell that the state says you have to give an inmate this much room in their enclosed cell with
For
a.
the state to contract with you, you have to have it pre-approved by the state.
We're not looking at.
No.
Mistake.
So you're just doing the stuff you're holding before they're convicted. There's a separate set of rules, but once they're convicted, you got a whole different set of rules for holding somebody.
Well, once they're
So we wouldn't be holding for the state, we'd be holding for counties that have inmates that are waiting to go to Scale State. Because we already do that, you know.
So yeah, for example, right now, we have a guy that just got 10 years to state prison. Well, the prison's so full, so his time's just going in jail. But we've not even charged the state for that.
So we already charge the state to hold that person for them because they don't have room.
So when you're looking at contracting, say 8 beds out for the county, are they willing to go longer than here? Can we get a 5-10 year contract with them? So that we know we can service the debt that's coming?
Yeah, I mean, it would,
I would want those in place before, I think we'd want those in place before we ever did anything. Right. Because you gotta guarantee some of this revenue, or you can't say that it's not gonna cost anything.
well, I can tell you that the need for facilities in the state are extreme right now. That's why we've sent out over 1,000 inmates from the prisons because of contracts being done in Cascade County, Flathead County, Yellowstone County. The need for it, I mean, yes, we'll say Flathead County, very wealthy county. Obviously, it's just known for that. But they turn around and approve $115 million for a new facility for them because they're going to turn around and utilize that space. I mean, right now we have our females sit in a 8-foot by 4-foot room that doesn't have windows. We had to redo the electrical so the lights would turn off because you couldn't turn the light off because the camera wasn't night vision capable. And we house one female, then turns into 2 to 3. When we get to that level, we have to start taking females out and going to other counties with them. And the most recent one that we've had, we've called, well, not, I guess I shouldn't say me, I did not. The undersheriff and Sergeant Chandler called probably 30 plus different counties. And
Everybody, like seriously, everybody, and nobody could hold first.
yeah, the closest place that we could find that helped us out in that situation after we explained, like, we are trying our best to avoid a lawsuit here, was Gallatin County. So we had to drive 2 females clear to Bozeman just to be housed, which again turns around to gotta go get them. So it's a loop in the whole thing of we're paying their daily rate. We're paying obviously wages for deputies and detention to go there. We're paying for the fuel to get there and back. And then whatever happens while they're there, same thing goes back towards us. If they're like, we need to go see medical, we get that request. What do they need? And then if we approve or deny, we end up getting that bill as well.
Well, I think, from a public standpoint, I try to understand, it would be helpful to look at if we give this a wish list to build this thing, or is this a necessity to build this thing? Because if you build 1 pod, 2 pod, solve your problem here, what's that cost? And, I don't know that we want to be in the business of corrections, holding other prisoners from other places and the whole bit, because we're taking risks doing that. And we're taking economic risk, is it worth it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you need to know what your cost per day is gonna be. If you build the whole thing or half of it, okay, what's my cost per day and how much revenue can I generate? So you know where you're at, see what dollars are controlled.
Mm-hmm.
So when we do projects, sometimes we just have alternatives in there too. Is it an option to bid this as 16 beds and then the alternate one of 32 beds?
Sure. That's how they presented it.
Did that help?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's 1624.
No, 32, and 32, yeah.
So that's how you would advertise the bid then.
Once we decide,
If this moves forward, is that how you would?
we got, that's why we priced it, that's why we got the bids for the 16 versus the 32 to begin with, to find out what the economic difference is.
And those are engineered estimates, right? Those weren't necessarily like bids from contractors.
That was a bid. They asked, Schletten Construction to give them the figures on the difference between, well, for both of them. That's where Schletten gave us the numbers for the whole project. But we will still have to put it in the paper, go up for bids.
I was just more asking.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah.
totally for the facility. You know, it's not all the expenses incurred for the extra detention officers, the extra liability insurance and all that other that goes with it.
Because if if you went to 16, you might be within the budget of the dollars you already have. Very little would you have to have a vote.
$1,000 difference is what the, yeah.
Because with the space, it seems hard that they could do that. That additional,
That's what Schletten came up with, so
but you can bid it out, see, you get real.
Yep.
Like, speaking of the insurance stuff, have you guys contacted Mako about the difference in premiums? I know we've had trouble trying to get full information from Mako. It's like, how are you rating your liability insurance? They've never been able to provide that for us in the last 7 or 8 years.
Right. And we tried to get those figures, and what they told us was they rate these jails by square feet and the whole, whether it's detention facility or, so they didn't give us a price. I mean, we're gonna be talking to them again to renew the policy here shortly, and they're supposed to be coming, hopefully, I don't, like you say, we've been trying to get figures from them for quite a while, and they have reinsurers and whatnot that, and you would think it wouldn't be that big a deal. Somebody knows those figures, but they won't.
That's the idea when they raise those policies, but over the years, we've tried to figure that out. Like, what's the rate per thousand on liability of this? I've struggled providing that.
Right.
Yeah, the problem with the Mako insurance is they just do a blanket. You know, in the past, they used to actually say, this is how much your insurance will cost for your public safety building. This is how much it'll cost for your courthouse. This is how much it'll cost for your public health. They won't do that anymore. They lump them all together. And we've been trying to get them, you have to come up with something. You just don't lump it all together.
One thing about the 16-bed facility, we have a problem right now with capacity. A lot of times we're sitting on, well, recently it was 13, 14 inmates. I mean, within 5 years, we're going to have the same problem with the 16 inmates.
Well, you got 8 beds now, you're at 16, that's 24. That's giving you 10 extra beds. I don't know if you're trying to make roll that.
Oh, I thought we were talking 16, 14.
Over.
Another 8.
You're right. Adding in the.
Yeah.
You still use those 8, or are those obsolete? That you're not supposed to use those anymore?
Without,
They'll probably be used for female inmates. We're getting more and more. We have to keep them separate. Oh. No.
It's like they kind of get grandfathered in.
Yes, some of the things get grandfathered in for it. It's just meeting the jail standards requirements. So it's similar to like our courthouse. When court security comes here and they do an assessment of the courthouse to Montana standards of court security, we get hammered on it. But it's like probably 80% of the state does, because it's a historic thing in Montana. We have old courthouses, and what states like where they pull this, like these stats and stuff from places like Tennessee and Florida and areas like that, where they're like, they're basically pulling brand new courthouses and different facilities that they're putting up and saying this becomes the standard. Well, like for here, the open floor railing right here doesn't meet standard. The fact that the judge sits next to on an attached witness stand doesn't meet standard. So they do the same thing with jails and are essentially saying we have these different facilities that are being built that are new and they're not. They're just increasing the standard basically instead of trying, I guess for us, like we'd have to redesign and rebuild the whole inner part of the facility to meet every one of their standards.
Did I understand? Is there 2 bunks? Would there be 2 bunks in each of the new cell? Did I understand that right? Or- That's the only difference between. One inmate per cell.
So it's in the new cells, it's a dormitory, so it's a pod style. So there's 8 bunks around the whole dorm. And then there's the shower unit, bathroom unit and stuff, but then there'd be 4 8-bunk.
Okay.
And that's the reason why there's not much difference in the bill for the 16 versus the 32. Because the pods don't increase much by adding bunks to those pods to increase the inmate capacity. You're not adding much square footage to that to accommodate the 32 beds versus the 16. That's why it's not much more expensive.
But your air handling changes, all that type of stuff. The difference between 16 and 32, there's a lot of different factors. That's where I have a hard time seeing that it could only be 500,000. They're shooting from the hip.
Yeah, that was letting it. Gave them those figures. Okay. Anything more to add, Vera? Question? No? There's no parking facilities there. Inmates probably leave their cars at home. Well. When the office there's how much you've got parking around, none of the parking is there will disappear, so the original parking.
Yeah, and nothing changed. The only thing that changes staffing wise is we add 3 detention officers. Right now, we're not a 24-hour or 24/7 facility for detention officers on staff. So the only thing adding 3 does is meets that Montana requirement of basically having 24 hours. So at most you have 3 detention officers on and then they overlap. So it's a couple hours that one's there and then the other one, like he'll leave, the other one comes out and then the one in the middle leaves and the night shift is on. So
It'll only be 1 or 2 more vehicles around per day.
I found the email with the 16 bed compared to the 32 bed. So they said it's about $740 per square foot. The rec yard is $495 per square foot. The 16 bed facility they quoted for $4,112,978. The 32 bed facility is $4,691,406.
That must have been last year's, but that's,
Yeah.
it's, the difference is still,
Oh,
what?
No, it's 580.
580.
But your little one, which is, when the first.
4-1 versus 4-6.
No, $4,691,406. So 4.112 to 4.691.
So we gotta add on probably about 20% for.
That's why.
prices that are gonna come.
Yeah, this was 11 of 2025. They said the escalation was 3%.
when you tie into another building, you're gonna have a lot of surprises.
We're not tying into the other building.
You're just building next to it.
Mhm. Yeah, and that was discussed with the engineers was if we touch the current building, they said you're looking at millions,
Yeah, to bring it up to
things
scale.
more.
Then we have to bring our current facility up. Yeah. So that's typically the way it gets to be the second year.
Yeah.
Right.
So what's your timeline and steps moving forward?
We'll have to, decide on a meeting tomorrow if, what we're gonna do with this and talk to the engineers and find out what next steps are as far as moving forward with whichever facility.
So if you approve it tomorrow, you guys are gonna vote to approve or make a decision tomorrow, and then you're gonna, if you do that, then you'll get
Get with the,
everything advertised then.
yeah, we'll have to get with the engineers and find out, before we can advertise it, we've got to find out what they're gonna bid on. All the specifics as far as, we'll probably have to have blueprints and whatnot for them to bid off of. So we'll have to get blueprints for it. Figures, it's supposed to have the engineering costs in it too, not just the construction.
So you gotta go out for bid for the architect then to design the thing, or?
No, was it HDR? Staley is our engineer that's handling this, but they are contracting with HDR who builds jails around the state. They have the knowledge to know how many square feet each and how many, everything about jail. And so then they're subcontracting through them to actually do the designing, the blueprints, and they'll have to set up to do the blueprints. And after we get that done, obviously then we'll have to go up for bid for whether Schletten gets it or whoever other major company that builds. I don't know who they are.
Well, I suggest when you get they're gonna give you a contract. Okay, go through that because the contract typically reads that if there's a dispute between the owner and the builder, that the architect or engineer gets to decide.
Okay.
Okay, you don't want that. Because who works together all the time? The builder and the architect or
Oh.
engineer.
Oh, yeah.
Guess who's on the both end of the totem pole? You just have to pay. What happens if the architect or engineer screws up?
Yeah.
He asks for a change order. You say, I can pay that change order.
Yeah.
He gets to decide it gets to happen.
Sure.
Goes up, you don't want the standard agreement.
Great. Right.
And you gotta do that with it. So when they submit it, you clean it up.
Sure. Yeah. We'll have Carl and Hayden over it with a fine tooth comb and been pretty good about getting up to speed and
Speak law.
this dispute. Okay. Good to know. Yeah.
And then the difference between the 16, the reason that it's not as much to go from 16 to 32, the 16 bed facility is 3,667 square feet. The pods, the 2 pods, and then so Bill, it says 4,315.
The square footage probably has the meal preps and the maintenance room and all that, which is gonna be there with either one. So then when you add the other 1,000 square feet for the other 2 pods,
And the electrical, room.
yeah. Not actually doubling the size, the square footage of the whole building, it's only doubling the 2 pods, not the rest of the facility. But we can get you a copy of that.
Yeah, we're just looking at it. With it, instead of 700 and some bucks a square foot, 1,000 square feet, 50.
100,000.
Yeah.
I guess it was 600, wasn't it?
Yeah, 580.
580.
I personally would like, more input from the public. So if you guys get word out, and I would love to get emails or letters or phone calls, with questions, concerns and opinions, because this is a huge deal to our community. And I want to make sure the public realizes this and is okay with it. And we don't seem to get too much input. So if you guys would help us get the word out too, I would appreciate that.
You get the input when you start building it.
Exactly.
Yes, that's right.
Actually, maybe siren on top. of it. Start from that.
Yeah, that's what we could do, get the sirens, yeah.
I think that, it would be helpful if the powers that be actually got the word out better. I mean, I happened to hear this on the radio at like 6:15 in the morning when I was half asleep. And so, and I never heard anything else about this.
It's been on the radio for 2 weeks straight.
But I only
even in-
listened to the radio between 6 and 7.
That's, I mean, I don't,
So, I mean,
short, I mean, it's been in the paper for 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
I
it's
can
been
think
on
what
the-
Mariah's medical, or not Mariah's medical center anymore. The auxiliary, they go around all over town and they put up posters and people know what they're doing.
I've never seen a poster for them, so there you go.
They do it all the time. And I mean,
And I've never seen one, I'm telling you, so you can't hit everybody for,
no,
or
but you can
expect,
try.
yeah. Like he says, when we start building.
It's a little too late then.
All right, thanks everybody for showing up.